Anyway, I think Grace is here with Grace's news.
I am here, Howie, and I have a lot of news to get to. I know that you mentioned this in the first segment about Louis Gohmert and what he said, the Republican representative Louis Gohmert of Texas, and what he quoted Nancy Pelosi on the House floor today. And the quote was, "I just don't even know why there aren't more uprisings all over the country, and maybe there will be." That was a direct quote from the speaker. This was at a different cycle of the news when the left was talking about children being separated from their parents at the border. So I know you know that, Howie, and I know that. But Twitter does not understand that Louis Gohmert was quoting Nancy Pelosi, and they're freaking out. I'm talking blue check marks, saying Louis Gohmert calls for more violent uprisings. And other people say,
"That's
oh
great.
My gosh, holy bleep, is Gohmert encouraging more uprisings? Did I hear that right?"
No, you didn't.
Louis Gohmert literally just asked for Trump supporters to commit violence on live TV prior to the insurrection. Why is he even there?
Is anyone?
I do not say this lightly.
Who is? Does anybody I know? Does anybody we know say this?
Sarah Reese Jones. These are all political people with blue check marks. Jason Applebaum.
I don't know who these people are.
Yeah, no, nobody really does. But I mean, they have blue check marks, and
Grace,
I don't.
How about the fact that it took them 9 months to get $600 to all these Americans whose lives have been terribly impacted by the panic, right? And Nancy Pelosi, by her own admission, held up the $600 that a lot of people needed. There are a lot of scammers, but a lot of people needed that money. But it only takes them 8 days or maybe 8 minutes to impeach Donald Trump over something he didn't really do.
Yeah, they're calling it a snap impeachment. And Howie, I think it's amazing that all Republicans, it doesn't matter who, across the board, all Republicans condemned what happened at the Capitol. But the Democrats are really doubling down on not condemning the riots like that happened over the summer. You'd think that people like Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo would say, listen, we have to kind of be consistent here. All violence is bad. But I saw on CNN last night, they were both justifying it to each other. The two brainiacs, one was saying, oh, no, this was for racial change and justice and all of these things. And it's just, there's no consistency.
I said in my column last week, Grace, some riots are more equal than others. I was paraphrasing George Orwell. And it's definitely true, isn't it?
It's so true. And John Hinderaker from Powerline Blog had a really good post on that as well. He said, good riots versus bad riots. Remember how CNN, I said this today during my show, but remember CNN had that ad that said, this is an apple. And they had the apple standing there and it said, This is an apple, this is a banana, whatever it was. It's like they act as if they can call things out when they see it, but they can't. They're so blinded by hatred for Donald Trump that they can't even, and it makes them so short-sighted. They can't see anywhere beyond Orange Man. It's really pathetic. But it's catching on because the third bank has officially cut ties with Trump in the wake of the Capitol riots.
Oh, yeah. I got a whole list I'm going to read of people who have and institutions that have gone after him. Did you see that the city of New York is going to cancel all of its contracts with the Trump organization? They amount to $17 million, and the Trump people say they're going to fight it in court. There is a alderman in Chicago who has he's going to file legislation to force the Trump name off one of the skyscrapers in Chicago. In West Palm Beach, Grace, they've already done that. They took, it was apparently adversely affecting property values on these two high-rise buildings on the Intercoastal Waterway that had Trump's name on it. So they just took down the names. But now this woke alderman wants to force the name off. I mean, do any property rights still apply anywhere? Do any First Amendment rights apply anywhere?
No, the answer is no, to tell you the truth, Howie. And honestly, it's amazing to me that in a place like New York, where they have so much to worry about, their list of priorities is so deranged. They should not be worrying about anything to do with Trump or his businesses or his banks or his buildings. They should be worried about their vaccine rollout and trying to revive what used to be the biggest cultural spot in the world and is now completely gone. I mean, it's like a ghost town there. That's what they should be worried about.
Well, now they're pivoting. Brian Jundeep, our friend out in Denver, the physician, had a great column today about how they're pivoting now away from the lockdowns because Joe Biden is about to become president. They're probably gonna change the way they conduct these, what do they call them, PCR or PRC tests, so that they'll be showing fewer positives, and so they'll say that's Biden's doing, rather than just changing the protocol for testing, and now they say they have to reopen the schools and all this stuff. I just got a text to Grace. Great things are happening in Massachusetts. 3 or 4 restaurants that I frequent are refusing to abide by the 25% capacity rule. Another restaurant has 2 huge banners outside telling Baker to only take 25% of his salary. I want to, 781, will you send me the name of that restaurant? I'd like to get some pictures of that restaurant with those 2 signs saying, telling Baker to only take 25% of his salary because he only wants the restaurants up to have 25% of his salary. And somewhat 508, Grace, there's an old saying, I think it's from Ralph Waldo Emerson: consistency is the hobgoblin of small minds. So you can't expect consistency from Democrats and their Democrat operatives with press passes in the media.
I totally agree. And speaking of no consistency, you make this point a lot, Howie, that when you bring in a new administration and it's a Democrat, you stop hearing a lot of those go-tos. It's usually the grim milestone, people who are dying overseas in war, that they stop reporting on that. And right now, it's obvious, like you just said, they're gonna lower the cases. It's not going to be as crazy. It's not going to be, we've reached a peak. Everything's going to go smoother now that Joe Biden's in office. But I noticed 2 other things that came back in fashion. And this is the thing about the Democrats. They're so quick. They think our memories are so small because we are credulous boomer rubes. So how long can we remember this stuff for? Nancy Pelosi was quoting Abraham Lincoln today. I did not know that was back in fashion. I didn't know Abe Lincoln
I thought we were taking his statues down.
Right, but
then we did it in Boston in Park Square.
Joe Biden's president-elect, Howie. That means Honest Abe is honest once more. And another thing I wanted to tell you is, I don't know if you saw this. So Nancy Pelosi was on the House floor today, and she was, making her spiel or whatever. And she addressed herself as a mother, as a wife, as the daughter of someone who was in Congress. All of these pronouns and titles that I thought we weren't supposed to be using anymore. I thought that was part of her, gender neutral ban, that you weren't supposed to be a mother or a wife. You were supposed to be a person,
a spouse, a sibling.
Right. So that's back in fashion now too. Now you can be a wife and a mother again, or you can be a father or a husband. You couldn't be one a week ago, but now that's back because they're trying to, really sell their case.
Again, Grace, consistency. The hobgoblin of small minds.
It's so, so true. And lastly, Howie, can I end on a little bit of a happier note?
What's that?
Crocs. Crocs have made a huge quarantine comeback.
Crocodiles?
No, Crocs the shoes.
Oh.
But honestly, Crocs.
I was going to say, how are Crocs benefiting from the lockdown?
Howie's like, I didn't know they left. The Proudly Ugly utility shoe brand, favored by everyone from Justin Bieber to your average home gardener, expects to report, Howie, this is kind of amazing, a 4th quarter revenue spike from $407 to $410 million for 2020. They've had a 25% bump in they're expecting a 25% bump in 2021. Isn't that crazy? There are some businesses that have thrived during the pandemic, and Crocs are one of those businesses.
Yeah, and another one is Amazon. And again, we're encouraging all of our listeners, if you could buy products directly from the people who are providing the product, the business, the retail, even if it's a retailer, don't use Amazon if you can, because Amazon is trying to shut us down.
And you know what I noticed, Howie, is that the big pull for Amazon for a lot of people is the free shipping. But a lot of these companies now offer that as well. Right. A lot of companies are, they're trying to meet the market and figure out how to get people to buy from them. So they offer free shipping or coupons or whatever. So if you can try to make the effort, even if it's just a little bit, we got to hit them where it hurts, and that's their pocketbook.
Right. And we had the free shipping deal yesterday on Kennedy Babylon, the 2 books. That deal, it was a 1-day only deal with Howie Carr Prime, but we'll try to come up with some other stuff for Howie Carr Prime. Maybe some of my other books later in the week or next week. But
Exactly.
We'll work on it.
Howie, could I give one plug?
Yes.
Everyone make sure you tune in to Howie's lead-in, Grace Curley, at the Grace Curley Show from 12 to 3 on RKO and from 1 to 3 on a lot of Binny stations in New Hampshire. We always have a lot of great guests and a lot of great content.
All right, Grace, you're doing a great job. And I just talked to my barber. I made an appointment, and I called it about 2:30, and he said, I'm watching Grace. And he said, if I dare say that she's doing a better job than you are, Howie. And I said, I'm not offended because, you know what, I own the show.
That's so true. Otherwise, you'd be nervous that you're being Wally pipped.
Wally pipped or maybe Donald Killeen or Wimpy Bennett. That would be even worse than being Wally Pip.
It's all under the Howie Carr Show umbrella, guys. So Howie's all for it.
All right. Thank you, Grace. We'll take some calls when we come back, 844-500-4242. We're all looking for ways to save money, right? Especially now. So let me ask you this. How would you like to keep an extra $961 a year in your pocket? That's how much Gabi customers save per year on average on home and car insurance. That's why when I was shopping for insurance, I used Gabi. This is the time of year we go shopping for insurance as we're trying to cut our expenses down. Well, Gabi takes the pain out of shopping for insurance by giving you an apples-to-apples comparison of your current coverage with 40 of the top insurance providers, including Progressive, Nationwide, and Travelers. Just link your current insurance account, and in just minutes, you'll be able to see the quotes for the exact same coverage you currently have. That's what I did. It was fast and it was easy. I mean, a lot of us, like myself, we got our insurance a very long time ago. Maybe when we just bought our first house, or just got our driver's license and got a cheap car. You got your father's insurance agent, and he's long gone now, but you've still got the same insurance. It's time to check it out. Check out the alternatives. You can save money. I logged in with my current insurance, and I was shown dozens of different quotes, and I saved, I think, about $500 or $600 just on my car insurance alone. As I mentioned earlier, Gabi customers save $961 per year on average. I bet that would be nice to have in your pocket every year. If they can't find you savings like they did for me, they'll let you know so you can relax knowing you have the best rate out there. The longer you've had your insurance policy, the more likely it is Gabi can help you out. And they'll never sell your info, so no annoying spam or robocalls. You're probably overpaying on car and home insurance. See how much Gabi can save you. It's totally free to check, and there's no obligation. Go to Gabi.com/Howie. That's GABI.com/Howie. 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 I'm Howie Carr.
Howie Carr. You can trust him. He's not like the others.